So, do I have water anywhere?
Well, good evening, friends. Here we are. It's that time again, time to talk about Amsoil. And we are going live to 8 different places across Facebook and YouTube. Some of them are car places, some of them are snowmobile places. But everyone who enjoys cars, trucks, boats, ATVs, motorcycles, snowmobiles loves and uses Amsoil. So we decided to put it out to all of the places, and we're going to be talking about Amsoil. And the gentleman to the right of the screen is a face who's probably very familiar to you if you watch any of my podcasts. Our good friend Rob Hilditch. How you doing tonight, Rob?
Doing good. And yourself, Mike?
Doing well. Doing well. Well, cool. There's a number of reasons we called you here today, but the main one, of course, is Amsoil is having a big promotion right now, and it's something you don't want to miss. If you like Amsoil, or if you're in need of Amsoil, this is a great time to buy some. We're going to pop the graphic on the screen, and if you want to talk about this for a moment, Rob.
Free shipping. You just order $49 worth of product. You can have it shipped to you free. So if you just want to try like just a couple of bottles of small engine oil, or you just want 3 quarts of oil for your Harley, $49, you get it shipped to you free. You don't have to order a whole case. So it's a good starter introduction for people to try the Amsoil products.
In fact, there's a figure of speech, to dip your toe in the water. Well, this is a chance for you to dip your toe in the oil and see if it's what you like, if you like it, and if it's right for you. And of course, it is right for most people. But we'd like you to dip your toe in it. And of course, if you're a regular viewer of these podcasts, the way that we finance and pay for all of the bills associated with doing these podcasts, of course, is with the Amsoil commissions. I'm in the interest of full disclosure, I'm signed up as an Amsoil dealer under Rob. So anytime you place an order using my number, my dealer number, which is in the description, Rob and I both benefit. And this is how we subsidize this habit of doing these podcasts. And yeah, so from that, I suppose let's get right into some products. What are some of the most commonly talked about and asked for products, Rob, that you see in your experience?
The most common is the signature engine oils. That was one of the first products Amsoil ever came out with. It came out with the 10W40 back in 1972, over 50 years ago it came out, and they still have that same product on the market. But not too many cars take 10W40 anymore. A lot of them take a 5W30, a 5W20, a 0W20 is a lot of vehicles now, and there's even a 16W20 out. But Amsoil also has 3 different grades of synthetics. Now, you heard this theory before, not all synthetics are the same. There's a partial synthetic, a semi-synthetic, 100% synthetic, and all these other words that they use. Some of the companies only have to have 5% synthetic in the petroleum oil, and they can call it a synthetic. So not all synthetics are the same. Now, Amsoil's biggest selling product is our 5W30, our signature type oil. And this oil is warranted for 25,000 miles or 1 year, cuts down friction and drag. So by cutting down friction and drag, there's less wear and tear in the engine, and it gives you more horsepower. With less friction, less drag, engines run 20 to 50 degrees cooler. Every 10 degrees you drop your engine temperature will double the life of the oil, of the engine. So by using an Amsoil-like product, your engine will last longer, you'll get better fuel economy, and it's cheaper to use. Say you're using, we have a product up here called Red Rose you can buy in the grocery store. It's only 79 cents for a quart of oil, but you got to change it every 2,000 kilometers. So if you're doing 4 oil changes a year at that price, that works out to like $100 a year for oil changes. Amsoil retails for $15 a quart. 4 quarts of oil for your car is $60 plus an oil filter. Amsoil's cheaper. Plus, you only have to go to the garage once to have it done, not 4 times. Plus, the Amsoil is going to make your engine last longer, make it run cooler, and give you more performance. Now, some of the vehicles don't do that many miles. So they ask for our XL oil. XL is good for 20,000 kilometers or 1 year. Now, this is what I sell to a lot of my taxi fleet vehicles, because some of the vehicles use oil and some don't, and they don't want to carry 2 or 3 different brands of oil. So they carry just the one XL, and it covers their whole fleet. It's still good for 15,000 miles. In Canada, we have kilometers, so I got a converter. 15,000. Sure. So it's a longer drain oil. You still, with the signature, you're getting as high as 25%. My average customers are getting 18, 19%. With the XL, you're still getting about 12% increase in fuel economy. And the benefit of a synthetic, it'll make the engine run cooler. XL does that, and it also pours at 45 below zero. Whereas some of the other oils turn to honey and get thick. Now, some of the manufacturers want you to change the oil when the light comes on. So for the dealerships, we have a lot of dealerships that do carry the Amsoil products, but they like carrying the OE oil. It's a synthetic that doesn't have long longevity. It still cuts the engine friction drag, increasing gas mileage on my average customer is only like 5 to 7%, not as much as the Signature, but it still makes the engine run a little bit cooler, makes it last longer. It still pours at 45 below zero. It's still good to over 400 degrees. It's still a great synthetic. It just doesn't last as long. Now, a lot of people said having an oil in the car that long, when they change the oil, it's black and thicker than it was before they put it in. A synthetic oil, that problem doesn't happen. It's called oxidization. That's when the gases in the air mixes with the oil. It forms carbons, gums, and sludges. And the oil, petroleum oil, never does wear out. It gets contaminated. That's why you got to change it at 4,000 or 5,000 mile range. It never has wore out. It's got contaminated. Synthetic oils don't oxidize. So when you change the oil with the Amsoil at 25,000 kilometers, especially after your second oil change, because your first oil change, the Amsoil will clean the inside of the engine. And some guys said, you know what, my oil was a little dirty when I did clean it. The second time they take it in to get it done, the dealership says to them, why are you changing the oil? This oil looks brand new. And they tell the dealership, it has 25,000 miles on that oil. Well, that's impossible. That oil is too clean.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
So you get increased benefit the more and the longer you're using the Amsoil with the increased oil changes down the road.
Yes.
Because you clean that sludge out, and now you've got a clean engine, and it stays clean for that many miles.
Yeah. Somebody with a high mileage vehicle and they want to switch over to Amsoil, we recommend them to take their filter off, put a cheap Fram filter on, add a can of flush, let it idle for 25 minutes, then dump the oil, dump the filter, put fresh oil in, fresh oil filter on, and that way the oil's starting off in a clean engine. But if you only have 40,000 miles in the engine, it shouldn't be that dirty. But if you got 100,000 miles in the engine, it's a good idea to put a flush through. That way the oil starts off in a clean engine. And I have some people, they don't want to use a flush, so they just buy the OE for the first oil change. And they only go 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers, dump it. And then they switch up to the XL and they phone me and say, wow, does that ever work different? It ever works good. The next oil change, they come back with a Signature and they say, why didn't you tell us to use that in the first place? I did.
Yeah.
But they were cheap. They wanted to start off with a cheaper one to prove to themselves that the Amsoil does make a difference. And as soon as you put the Amsoil in the car, you'll notice the car running quieter, smoother, and more performance out of the car. Yeah. So it does make a difference.
Nice. Well, cool. One of the questions that people have asked me periodically is it worth your while to have an oil analysis done? Especially maybe if you're thinking about changing to a different brand of oil. What kind of information can that tell you? How useful is that? What are your thoughts on oil analysis?
I've had a lot of different people use oil analysis. One person was buying a car.
Sorry, that's my phone. I'm going to shut my mic off while you're speaking.
I've had one person that was buying a new car, and they said there was a rebuilt motor in it. So they asked me if I'd do an oil analysis on it, and found out the engine wasn't rebuilt and there was a lot of bearing wear in the engine. Now, for the average car that only takes 4 or 5 quarts of oil analysis is $40. It's almost as cheap to change the oil than do an oil analysis. But if you got a highway truck and you got 48 quarts of oil in it, instead of changing the oil, you do an oil analysis, and it tells you the condition of the oil and if there's any metal particles, what size is in it. Now, I have a guy out of the Toronto area that was running down to Mexico and back, bringing parts back for General Motors, and he had a vehicle that was still under warranty. He was running the Amsoil in it, and the wear check the company said that there was high amount of certain type of metal in it, and they said it's cam and it's lobe number such and such. So I give him that report, and he took it into the dealership and said, I want the cam replaced and all this and that. And they said, no, there's nothing wrong. The vehicle runs fine. He says, I'm the paying customer. Don't worry about warranty. I'll pay. So it was $600 to have the cam changed. They tore the cam out, and that number 7 lobe was wore out. So I phoned the oil analysis company. I said, how do you know it's number 7? They said, because that's a common engine to have that there problem, and the amount of metal particles, and by the size of the particles, they could tell that it was down past the wear mark and it was larger pieces of metal in it. Now, if that would have broke, that was $600 to change the cam for him. They covered it under warranty because there was a problem. But if it would have broke in Mexico and took the timing chain out and took the piston out, he was looking at $10,000 bill down there. So by doing an oil analysis with large highway trucks, it can save them money. And a lot of fleets are doing that on a common base. That way they can keep track of the condition of the inside of the engines.
Yeah, a good part of scheduled maintenance.
Yeah.
And you're right too. If you've got a vehicle and you're putting 48 quarts of oil in there every oil change, it's a big investment.
Yes.
So $40 is a small investment to find out exactly where you're at with that oil, the condition of it, and it could possibly expose significant problems with the engine.
Yep. Yep.
The
Yep.
better to find that. The earlier you find that out, the better off you are.
Yeah.
Which is the point you were just making.
So it's a cheap maintenance thing for a large fleet. But for the average person that has one car, a lot of times if you pull your dipstick out and you're wiping on a Kleenex and you put it up to the sunlight, you can see a sparkling piece of metal if it's in the oil. And a lot of times if you feel the oil and if you feel a piece of metal in it, you know there's something wrong. So then you would do an oil analysis. But 90% of the time you pull the Amsoil out, there's nothing in it. The oil's as clean as could be. Yeah, so in my opinion, it's a waste of time doing oil analysis on a vehicle.
Sure.
Yeah. If
It depends on the
if
situation.
you're changing it at Amsoil regular intervals.
Sure.
Yeah.
And also, if someone's just plain curious, it could be a good investment. But it's like you're saying, it's not necessary.
No.
Sure.
No. But besides having those 3 oils we just talked about, our Signature, our XL, and our OE, we also have a complete line of European oils. Now, North America, we rate the oils by API approved and stuff like that, SAE and all that. Over in Europe, they use a system called a SAP, and their system is a lot higher testing system than ours is. And most of the North American oils will not pass over in Europe. Well, Amsoil has probably 7 different European oils for a lot of the European cars. Yeah. And another big market I deal with is the older cars, the hot rods. Where did they go? Here we go. Z-Rod oil with high zinc. And it comes in a 10W30, a 10W40, and a 20W50. Now, the reason we have a Z-Rod oil out is for the older cars with the cams, rockers, and lifters, they all needed a zinc. And most of the company all took the zinc out because zinc was a pollutant. Amsoil found a raw product that outperforms what the zinc used to do, so you don't have no rocker, cams, or lifter problems. Now, years ago, I run into a lot of customers that were running another product, a diesel product. I won't mention Rotella Shell, but they were using it because it was high zinc. Well, 4 years ago, they took the zinc out, and most of the customers don't know that. So they're wondering how come they're having rockers and cam lifter problems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But by Amsoil likes to have a high zinc product. Ours is 1,600 parts per million. Some of the other companies on the market are only 600 parts per million. A lot of the manufacturers, the cam companies and all that, are asking for at least 800. So we are 16. We're a lot higher than most of them on the market. Yeah. And there's 3 different grades of oil. And a lot of guys come out to me and says, I got a 69 Camaro. I got the motor all done up. I want 20W50. So I said, who built your motor for you? And he's telling me, he said, let's call the guy up. So we phoned the guy up. And usually when they build the motor, they plastic gauge the bearings. And we asked the guy, what grade of oil sheet he used? And he says, I made that engine run a 10W40. And the guy says, I drive it hard. I want a 20W50. Well, the customer's always right. So I sell him the 20W50. Then he comes back and says, my engine's running hotter now than it was before. I said, that's right. 20W50 is a thicker oil than a 10W40. It goes through the bearings slower, so it has more heat. If you have a 10W40 with the engine manufacturers said you should run, it goes through the bearings faster, disperses the heat faster. That's why a lot of the new cars, like the Corvettes, 5W30, 5W20, 0W20 in them, because it goes through the engine faster, it disperses the heat faster.
Interesting. Yeah.
The old days, like if you had an older car, let's put 20W50 in it because it won't burn as much oil.
Right.
But it was harder on the bearings. So you beat one purpose and did another.
Everything's a trade-off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that people ask me also is, if I'm on the people will think about, well, this could make a nice gift for someone, especially maybe a wife buying an Amsoil oil change as a gift, Christmas gift, Father's Day gift for their husband, and they might be concerned, well, how do I know that I'm picking out the right oil and the right filter and everything for my husband's particular vehicle? The nice thing about the website, the Amsoil website, is you can look by year, make, and model for just about every vehicle that's made, and you can find out exactly what oil that vehicle takes, how many quarts of it, what's the oil filter. Are there other things that it shows too, or am I missing anything as
It
far as?
shows all the different lubricants. I have a lot of graduates. I even have some dealerships that use the Amsoil website to look up vehicles. Because if you look up a such and such a model, year, and what engine it is, it'll tell you the 3 different grades of oil. So you got the Signature, the XL, OE, can all go in that. It tells you how much oil goes in it. It tells you what Amsoil filter, and we also carry the Wix filter. So what Wix filter you could use. So if you're running the OE, you could buy the Wix filter. But once you get down to the transmission, transfer cases, and all that, a lot of dealerships, at their own dealerships, have a hard time finding how much fluid goes in transfer cases. Amsoil is right on that same page, right on that one page, how much fluid it should use and what fluid goes in it.
That's
So
impressive. So the
it's a
Amsoil
really,
website is a reference for the entire industry.
yeah, it's a really friendly site to use.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of
It
times
is.
when I sign up a new dealer, I'll get him to go on the Amsoil website and I'll ask him what kind of car you have. Okay, type in your year, type in your model, type in the motor. Okay, right there it tells you what your car needs. So that way he knows how to show other people because it is a good, friendly, easy site to use.
For sure. And for someone who maybe isn't familiar with a lot of these things, it eliminates any kind of guesswork and errors.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, especially if you're buying for another person or a gift, and it makes a wonderful gift.
My wife just came and handed me a note. I have a guy coming. His son's coming over to pick up a Harley kit.
Ah,
Yeah,
yes. Talk to us about that.
for the guys for his dad's birthday tomorrow. So he's coming
Perfect.
it up. They got it sitting out in the front step for him right now.
Speaking of gifts,
Yeah, yeah.
wonderful.
Amsoil is big in motorcycle oil because when you have a car that's 4,000 pounds and you get a 10% increase in horsepower, unless you're checking of your gas mileage and all that, it's hard to tell. But if you got a 500-pound motorcycle with 90 horsepower and you got a 10% increase, you're sitting on top of that motor, you notice it. Or
Yeah,
if you're driving a Harley and everybody knows when somebody's running Amsoil because the guy running Amsoil, this weekend down at Sturgis, we have a big Amsoil display down there. And there's a Harley sitting in front of the booth running all day long, and it won't overheat. It makes
oh,
it
okay,
makes it run that much cooler.
yeah.
So when you go to Sturgis, I don't know how many thousands of bikes there, but it's a mile drive to get in. So people are shutting their bikes off and on because you're only going 2 miles an hour. Guys with the Amsoil don't have to do that. It runs that much cooler. So we have the 20W50. We also have the metric oil for the Cowies, Hondas, and all that. 10W40. We have a 10W30. But the big thing is, by cutting down the friction and drag, it runs 20 to 50 degrees cooler. It really increases the life of the machine. And when you get a 10% increase in horsepower in a small machine like that, you notice a difference in performance.
Yeah, with that kind of power to weight ratio, you're going to feel that
Yeah, yeah,
seat of the pants.
yeah, yeah. And we have a special clutch additive package. A lot of the synthetic oil companies, when they first come out, would not work in a motorcycle because it was too slippery for the clutch. We have a special friction modifier in ours that makes the clutches grab faster.
Hmm.
That's why if you ever go to a dirt bike race, you see the Amsoil guys all take off the line faster than everybody else because of our special additive package to make the clutches grab faster. Yeah, we have a complete line of dirt bike oils too. Yeah, we have 10W60 for the Cowies, 10W40 for the Hondas, and 10W50s for another brand. I spilled my water.
Oh no.
Yeah. Amsoil has a lot of different brands of oil to cover the whole market. Yeah, one of my favorite ones I like to play with is our Power Sports.
Yeah.
0-40. You can use this in the snowmobile or the ATVs. We have ATVs and UTVs. And a minute ago, you just talked about the Amsoil website where you can go look up. On our website, there's also cars, trucks, motorcycles, ATVs, UTVs, Sea-Doos, snowmobiles. You can look them all up on there. So all the information is available for all the different products we have on there. Yeah.
That's impressive. So it eliminates any kind of guesswork.
Yeah.
And then switching gears a little bit, do you have any marine samples at hand there?
One, two. Where's my favorite one? Yeah.
Since it is summertime and people are using their boats. Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
HP is what we use for the outboard boats.
Yeah.
So you can use it in an oil injection application, or you can pre-mix it at 50 to 1. Because some people have 100 horsepower in their boat that's oil injection, but they also got a 9.9 to go fishing with. This one oil you can use for both applications.
Nice.
Yeah. And how I got involved with the business, Amsoil came out with a 2-cycle oil back in 1972, and it's 100 to 1. One of these 8-ounce bottles to 5 gallons of gas is 100 to 1 ratio. So there's no mixing, no measuring. One of these goes in. Now, it doesn't matter if you got a 200 Black Max, or if you got a 50 Merc, or if you got a chainsaw, a stringer machine, or a lawnmower, lawnmowers. There are 2 cycles. Everything runs with Amsoil at 100 to 1. Now, Amsoil's 100 to 1 gives you more protection than some of the other products I won't mention still at 32 to 1. This gives you more protection. It doesn't burn off as fast, so it has a stronger film strength, makes a better seal around the rings. I have a lot of lawn maintenance companies that really like to use this product because the other ones smoke. And if you got students working for you and they're on a stringing machine, they don't know enough to have the wind blowing at the front of them. That way the fumes aren't going in their face. And with some of the other products, some of the guys are getting sick from the fumes. With Amsoil at 101, there's no fumes.
Nice.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Amsoil's done a lot of tests. They have their own dyno machine for small engines, and they bought 10 machines from 10 different companies and hooked them up with a dyno, and we're going to run them for 10 hours on their own oil and then switch half of them over to Amsoil. But the only thing is, after 10 hours, every company's machine blew up except for one brand. So they end up going out to out to the field where they found a small engine company, a landscape company that had 2 fleets of people working for them. So they switched the one over to Amsoil, and the other one they're using the other brand of oil. And after 300 hours, the Amsoil, the big thing about the 2 cycles, the chainsaws, weed eaters, string machines, they have a screen in the exhaust. And once that screen gets plugged up, you lose power. Some people take a screwdriver and poke holes in the screen, but then that's what gives you the back pressure on the 2 cycle. So you don't have as much power. Amsoil at 300 hours on the machine, the screen was brand new, no carbon at all. And the petroleum at 30 hours was already starting to plug up. Amsoil has these tests on their website where you can go look up Amsoil under testimonials, and they'll show you this test and the name of the company and everything that did the test. Yeah, it's pretty impressive how much cleaner it runs.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
Now, while we're still on the Sabre product, I want to confirm, and the reason I want to confirm the question I'm about to ask you is because we have a lot of vintage snowmobile enthusiasts in our audience.
Yeah.
One of our channels has over 50,000 fans, all vintage snowmobile people. So for the people who have those older sleds from the 60s and 70s and they're doing a premix, I want to confirm Sabre is the answer for them for a premix?
Saber's perfect for the average person going out running around the field. Now, a lot of vintage people wants our Dominator, our racing one, but it's not necessary. But
Sure.
Saber's good. Saber's good. And another benefit Amsoil has, I help a lot of guys with stock cars, and they race every weekend. Come the end of the year, they just put the thing in the barn. They don't do anything to it. Something you should be fogging them and stuff like that, but they don't. They work so much on it, they're tired. When they bring it out the following year, they tear the engine apart and start getting it ready for the spring. And they find the inside of the engine has a complete coating of oil on it because Amsoil clings to all the metal. They said their other petroleum oil, within 2 minutes, it was drained right down the oil pan, and there was pivot marks inside the engine of rust from sitting all winter long. With the Amsoil, it was complete coated of oil. And people find that with their 2 cycles too. Yeah. When the 2 cycles are sitting all winter long, the gas evaporates off the cylinder, but the Amsoil still sticks on the cylinder walls.
Nice protective coating.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, another question too, still on the two-stroke snowmobiles. I've got a 1992 Ski-Doo Safari that's oil injected. And I don't know what it had in it when I got it, but I bought a gallon of the BRP 2-stroke injection oil, and it's been fouling plugs using that.
Yeah.
So the question I'm posing to you is if I use a turkey baster or some sort of pump and pump out that oil reservoir and fill it with this 2-stroke injector oil that you're about to show us, could that possibly address that issue of fouling plugs?
It will eliminate the problem. But most of my people don't pump it out. It's too much work. So
Sure.
they run it down as low as they can, and then they mix the Amsoil injector oil in it. So it burns a lot cleaner than petroleum oils. It doesn't foul plugs. It also gives you an increase in horsepower. And snowmobiles, you do notice the increase in horsepower.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of people go riding, and their and their buddies all have the identical machine. They all have a 600, or they all have an 800. And if the one guy switches over the Amsoil, the people are saying, your machine's not running right. It's not smoking. It's going to blow up. Oh, no, I switched my oil to the Amsoil. And they get out in the lake, and the one guy could just pull away from everybody else. There's that much increase in horsepower difference.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So it cuts down friction, drag, makes the engine last. Same as the engine oils. Makes the engine last longer because of less friction, less drag. Makes a stronger film strength around the rings. That's why you get more horsepower using the Amsoil. Everybody says, how can I get more horsepower by putting the oil in? The oil makes a stronger film strength around the rings, so you get a better seal. Say you did a compression test on the snowmobile before you put the Amsoil in it, and it's 145 pounds. You run it for an hour on Amsoil, and you do a compression test on it the next day, it'll be 147, 48, 2 or 3 more pounds compression. That gives you more horsepower.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, I've also got some slides for some of the other Amsoil products. If did you have more on the motor oils before we switch gears, or because we can continue if
a lot of people building an engine like to buy a break-in oil. Break-in oil is really high on zinc. Most break-in oils are only for dyno test only. Amsoil is good for 500 miles. So when you break the break-in oil, you break the engine in on the dyno, you can put it in the car, you can drive it for the first 500 miles before you have to dump this stuff. Wow. And we talked about the other zinc oil, that's 1,600 parts per million. This is over 2,000 parts per million of zinc, really high zinc.
Wow, for that break-in period.
Yeah, and why you don't want to use high zinc in your regular car? O2 sensors, catalytic converters, it'll plug them up.
Sure. Well, cool. Any more on motor oils before we shift gears, or have we exhausted that?
Complete line of diesel oil, but we'll get on that later.
Yeah, all right. Cool.
Yep.
So I've got the slide now for the automatic transmission fluids. I'm going to pop that on the screen, and if you want to talk that up.
Sure. Amsoil has 3 automatic transmission fluids. Four. Now, if you go to a shop, look for an automatic transmission fluid, you got to know whether it's Textron 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chrysler has 6 of them. Ford has 7 different brands. Amsoil has one oil that meets 97 different qualifications. And if you look on the back of the Amsoil bottle, I thought I had it here somewhere. I don't. It tells you all the different qualifications you have. A lot of people never change their transmission oil. The transmission is the lifeline of the drivetrain of the system. If the transmission oil starts to burn, plug up, it plugs the filter up, the transmission will run hotter. If your transmissions run hotter, your transmission cooler is hooked up to your rad. It makes your rad run hotter. It affects everything. And if you're pulling a trailer, transmissions will run hotter. A lot of people put a transmission cooler on their vehicle. If they're pulling a trailer, a transmission cooler would drop the temperature by 10 degrees. Just like all the engine oil and everything, every degree you drop the transmission temperature doubles the life. If you put the Amsoil synthetic oil in the transmission, 20 to 50 degrees cooler it will run. So more than doubles the life. It makes more of it efficient than the transmission cooler does. It does a better job. And transmission oil, our transmission oil is 2 times the life of what your petroleum ones are on the average. So you don't have to change it often. I have a lot of people, they buy a motorhome. And a lot of these motorhomes, they're a pickup engine and a pickup transmission in it. They're a 40-foot motorhome. Then they got a 30-foot trailer they're pulling behind it. That's a lot of work on that transmission.
Yeah.
But by changing the transmission oil, it makes it shift smoother, quieter, makes it run cooler, and gives you more performance out of the transmission. That's your lifeline of your drivetrain is your transmission. So by looking after your transmission, it makes a big performance difference.
Yeah, and that's not a corner you want to cut either, because you start thinking about the cost of a transmission repair, and that can be very painful.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we've also got a slide here for the OE and manual transmission fluids, as well as the gear loops.
Yeah. A lot of the Hondas are calling for a synchro transmission in their transmission, and it's a 5W30 oil they're putting in the transmission, so it will run hotter than most transmission oil. So that's why and by having a thinner oil in there, it disperses the heat better. But a thinner oil won't take as much heat, but a synthetic will take more outdo the temperature range of petroleum oils. That's why it'll outperform it and give you more performance in it. I have a dealership that buys it and puts it in their demo car. And they actually had a customer come back and say, my transmission doesn't shift as good as the demo I took out. And the guy
Wow.
behind the counter says, okay, bring it in. We'll put the Amsoil in it. Because it's a noticeable amount how much better it shifts, eh?
That's amazing. That's amazing. And then I have two other transmission slides while we're still in the transmission.
Yeah.
Any comments about these? Or
CTV transmissions are getting popular. Yeah, they're a snowmobile transmission, but they're outperforming some of the other transmissions. Their ratio works really well. They're getting to be really popular. Super Shift for the Fords. A lot of people at the racetrack all likes that. Dirt bikes. A lot of people are running the same engine oil in their dirt bike as they were the engine, but Amsoil came out with a super clutch oil, so it's an 80 weight for the transmission. Yeah, so if you have a specialty product that you want for an application, look on the Amsoil site, and we probably already have it available for you.
nice, nice. And then one last transmission slide. These are the larger gallon containers.
Yes, for the highway trucks. Yeah, a lot of highway trucks are going automatics now. Yeah, and even the highway trucks with the standard are 75W9. I have guys run from southern Ontario with in the wintertime, the temperature could be around 0, and they run up to northern Ontario. When they get up there, it's 40 below. So they leave their engines running all night long, but their transmission with a 80W90 in it turns to like honey. Well, some of them unhook the trailer and run around the yard trying to get the transmission loosened up before they do. And some guys thought it'd be a good idea to hook a barbecue up on a toboggan, and they'd slide it underneath to heat the transmission up.
Ah,
Yeah, but once it started heating up and the oil underneath started dripping down the barbecue, one of the trucks burned down. So the place phoned me up and said, what can you do to solve this problem with us? And I said, we have a gear lube, a 75W90 that will pour at 55 below 0. He said that would eliminate our problem. So they had a couple of brokers. The brokers put it in their own vehicle. And when they leave Toronto, they head north, and 3 hours north, there's one place where they got to stop at a stoplight, and then they got a 6-mile hill to climb. Well, there's usually 4 of them going on a road, and they're hauling steel up there. But when they started going up this hill, the one guy with the Amsoil transmission, he pulled out and passed all of them. At the top of the hill, he was 3 gears higher. Wow. He had 10% less fuel economy than everybody else. He saved $100 every week on fuel economy by switching over the Amsoil. Now, before they were switching their transmission fluid 2 times a year, the Amsoil is good for 500,000 miles.
wow. So a long haul trucker, that'll last them quite a while.
Yes, yes. Yeah, at 50,000, he takes a petroleum out and puts the Amsoil in it. And by the time he gets 500, it's time to trade the truck in. Yeah, so he never has to change it again. Well, everybody else is doing 2 times a year.
That's impressive.
So, yeah, and the $100 a week he's saving on gas mileage, that's Amsoil's cheaper to run than petroleum because you're saving.
That adds up.
Yeah.
Week after week, that will add up for sure.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and some of these truckers, they're in Wisconsin one week where it's 30 below, and following week they're down in Florida picking up oranges or something. So they need a fluid that can pour at 50 below 0 and good to higher temperatures. So that way the one oil can do all seasons.
Covers everything. Sure.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the transmission isn't the only thing to keep cool. And, of course, this is my segue here into our next slide.
Antifreeze. Yes, Amsoil has a complete different line of antifreeze. And the reason I like it, because we race snowmobiles, and a lot of our cylinder walls and our heads, we plane so much that we're right at the limit. And if we go a little too far and we redline, it sucks the seal in and the antifreeze gets sucked into the motor. Once we go past the limit, well, the antifreeze, petroleum antifreeze, is like sandblasting the inside of the engine. It just destroys it. The Amsoil antifreeze doesn't destroy the inside of the engine. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it lasts 2 to 3 times longer. It's friendly. If it leaks on the ground and a dog licks it, it won't die. Not like most antifreeze are really toxic. This isn't. Yeah. But the best product I like there is a coolant boost.
Yes, tell us about that. I know you've told me about that in the past, and it's always impressive when you tell us about this. Go ahead.
Amsoil came out with this for the stock cars because anybody running a stock car, they go only supposed to run water at the track. In case they break the rad, it's easier to clean up water than antifreeze. So, matter of fact, they don't even have to clean the water up; you just leave it. But when water will boil higher than what antifreeze will. So by adding a coolant boost, it disperses the heat 10% more than what water does. So the engine can still run as efficient as it did when it had the antifreeze in it. And we use it in our snowmobiles because the warm-up time is only half. It warms up faster. So it works both ways, disperses the heat, but also warms up to the operating temperature faster. Even in my car, I have a 3-minute drive to get to the donut shop. Well, most of the time I get there before I start using the boost, temperature gauge hadn't moved. Now, by the time I get donut shop, I'm up operating temperature in 3 minutes. It makes that much difference when it's 10 below. So,
Yeah,
yeah. And
that's
it's
cool.
a good product. And you only have to add, on my vehicle, I only put 3 ounces of this into the rad. So one of these would do like 6 rads.
Nice. So you're not pouring that whole bottle in. It'll last you quite a while.
Yep, yep. There's instructions on back, how much per gallon.
Nice. And then the other thing people are talking about, you hear chatter about this a lot on social media, and I've got a graphic I'm going to pop up that will pose the question instead of letting me do it.
Yes.
Fuel additives. So
Fuel
we're going to learn the truth about fuel additives right now. Do they work or do they not work? Rob is going to explain it all to us.
Even our fuel additive does not increase your gas mileage. What it does, ours will dissolve the dirt in the gas tank, clean the dirt, clean the filters, clean the injectors, and once your injectors start getting dirty, so you don't get a nice mist, you get half a spray coming out, you don't get as good as fuel economy. So by putting a carburetor injector cleaner in, and this is a high detergent cleaner, it doesn't burn as good as gas. That's why when you put it in your first tank, you're not getting as good as gas mileage as you were before. But after one tank, the injectors are making clean, and your gas mileage comes back up to what it was when the vehicle was new. Yeah.
Gotcha. So that kind of addresses the myth of, is this going to give me better fuel economy than the car's ever had in its life? And the answer is no. But it gets you as good as the car has ever had, which is when it was new.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's good to dispel that myth.
Yes. Yeah. It brings it up to what it was before the injectors get cleaner, before they got dirty. And our gas nowadays, even though we pay more money for the gas, it's not as good as it used to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of contaminants.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the ethanol in the gas, if you don't use your car all the time, ethanol starts separating, turns into water. If somebody comes to my place with a small engine like a roller tiller or a snowblower or something like that, and they can't get it running, I just tell them, take the gas cap off, smell it. Oh, that smells like paint thinners. I said, there you go. Your gas has gone bad. And it'll leave a plastic coating on the inside of the carbs and the needle valves and jets and all like that. So we have one for small engines. It's called a quick shot. Yeah, and it'll eliminate the ethanol problem. So we have some people that use this all year long, even on their cars, because of the ethanol problem. Like I got one customer, a tank of gas will last him more than a month because he doesn't live very far from where he works. So he keeps this in his car all the time to help with the ethanol problem. Yeah.
Nice.
But for a chainsaw, small engine, something that you're only using, you might pull a chainsaw twice a year or something like that. I would put the ethanol additive in it every time, or buy gas without ethanol, which is getting harder and harder to do.
It's harder to find. Yeah.
Yeah, I can only
And
get it from Indian reservations now. All our gas stations now have.
really,
We used to be able to get it super, but now super has ethanol in it. And
wow.
we're only at 10% right now, and next year they want to try to put us at 15%.
Really? So that could affect a lot of those engines.
Well, we've tested it on the snowmobiles, and they won't run at 15% ethanol. They spit and sputter.
Really? So that could put a lot of snowmobilers in a situation there. So for the modern snowmobilers, is it worth using this product on a regular basis to help mitigate that?
Yes, yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because the snowmobile, the guy goes out for the weekend, and then he might not go out the following weekend. So it's sitting there for 2 weeks. It only takes 10 days for gas to start going bad now. Gas used to be
Wow.
good for 6 months. Now
Yeah.
well, the gas doesn't go bad. It's the ethanol going bad.
Sure.
It
And the
costs
thing
us
too,
more to make ethanol, but we don't get as good as gas miles with that ethanol, and we pay more for it. I don't understand the theory behind it.
no.
And
And
put
with
the price of
snowmobiles too,
corn
we're
up.
only. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Put the price of corn up, so farmers are paying more for the corn to feed their animals because of the price of ethanol. And just
Yeah,
yeah,
it's getting crazy.
Yep.
But the point I was going to make too about snowmobiles is you're only using the snowmobile part of the year. So
Yes.
it sits, for 6 to 8 months or more sometimes, and that's really putting it at risk
It is.
with the gas going bad.
Yep.
And
Yep.
this helps to mitigate that. And I think Amsoil has a gas stabilizer too,
They
don't
have
they?
a stabilizer for vehicles sitting. The ethanol's the quick shot is good for 6 months. The gas stabilizer is good for a year and a half.
Yeah,
So
nice,
yeah,
nice. And then there's the upper cylinder lubricant.
I don't see it here,
Uh-oh.
but
I've well, I've got
use it in my vehicles because all my vehicles are high mileage, and yes, they do have some wear and tear on it. So I put one of those bottles in for 45 gallons. No, no, yeah, 40 gallons of gas. One of those bottles. And it makes a better seal around the rings, so it brings my compression back up to where it should have been before. And it's a nose, especially I used to just use it when I was pulling the trailer. Now I notice the benefit so much. I put it in every tank of my truck and the little car. I put it in for 2 tanks and go 1 tank without.
wow.
And for like $7 for a bottle, it pays for itself in gas mileage.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, because you notice the difference performance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all my vehicles are really high mileage.
Yes, yeah. And I'm going to pop that graphic again. The upper cylinder lubricant that Rob was just talking about is the item on the left. The stabilizer is the one in the middle, and then the fuel injector cleaner is the one on the right. And one of the questions I hear a lot, and you probably do as well, Rob, is people will ask, well, what's the difference between the upper cylinder lubricant and the fuel injector cleaner? Should I use both? Should I use one? Should I, people have a lot of questions about, if they should use one or the other, or should they use both, and what frequency? And I wonder if you could help demystify that for us.
Most people driving their car know when they need an injector cleaner added. Because if you take off in the stoplight and you put your foot on the gas and there's a little bit of hesitation, you know your injectors are starting to get dirty, or it's an electrical problem. But 90% of the time, it's injectors getting dirty. I had a customer, one of the garages I deal with, check engine light come on, and they sent the customer down to me and they said, go down to Rob and buy one of the PI carburetor cleaners because it came out 27 different codes. He says, you want me to start changing O2 sensors? It's going to cost you a lot of money. Go down and see Rob. So he came down and bought a bottle of it. Within 1 tank, the engine light didn't come on anymore. Now, it could have been injectors were dirty. It could have been dirt on the O2 sensor. It could have been a number of things, but it cleaned it up and eliminated the guy's problem. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
So most of my customers are 5,000 miles between adding the injector cleaner.
And that's the injector cleaner. Okay.
Yeah.
And then as far as the upper cylinder lubricant, what's the frequency of someone using that? And
I have customers that's using it in every tank now.
yeah,
Every
okay,
tank. Yeah. Yeah. Because they notice the difference in performance and horsepower, so they put it in every tank. Yeah. And they say by the amount of gas mileage you're saving, it's covering its cost.
good. It pays for itself.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And just to give people a sense of all of the automotive fluids that are available with Amsoil, look at this image on the screen here, and there are new products that have been added since this image was taken.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a lot of new products coming out. Too many.
And as far as the samples that you have there with you, Robert, is there anything that we've missed that we haven't covered yet?
We have a hybrid oil coming out. Well, it's already out. We have a high mileage oil out. But
Mhm.
I wrote a letter to the Amsoil and said, I have 1,300,000 kilometers on my truck, which is close to 900,000 miles.
Wow.
That I'm not going to switch over high miles. Yeah. But for somebody who has 200,000 miles on their car and haven't used Amsoil, yeah, maybe the high miles is just the way for them to go. Yeah. It's not a long drain oil like a Signature. It's not good for 40,000 kilometers, but it
Mhm.
has a stronger film strength to keep particles in suspension longer and make a better seal around the rings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for a high mileage engine, that's a good product. Is that on the website yet? The high
Yep.
mileage?
Yep.
Oh, it
It's on
is.
the website. The new oil for the electric vehicles is on the website. Electric vehicles are having a problem with heating, eh? So
Yeah.
that's why they're running over the Amsoil. And right now we got our second boat of electric vehicles on fire. Both
Wow.
of them. Yes.
Ooh,
They're saying
not good.
how many trillions of dollars that's costing them for that boatload.
Yeah, that was a bill. That was a very expensive bill right there,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. So if we've intrigued you about Amsoil and you're thinking about trying it, now is an excellent time to try it. I'm going to pop the graphic because right now they've got Amsoil has a special where if you join the preferred customer program, you get free shipping with a $49 order. Typically, it's $100 for free shipping. And then the other thing too, of course, when you join the preferred customer program, you're getting the deepest levels of discounts. Um, and go ahead and tell us about this if you would.
Grease.
Grease.
I love selling grease.
Grease
Because
is the word.
if I go to approach a farmer, if he's a John Deere farmer, he only uses John Deere oil, you know. The guy also wears John Deere underwear. He's not going to listen to me
That's true.
about Amsoil. But if I approach him about grease and I tell him how this is going to last longer, work better for him, because a lot of times when it's harvest time, their equipment is running 24 hours a day for like 5 weeks in a row. And they pay their guys to grease them during the lunchtime breaks and stuff like that. I have a company that they have backhoes. They're subcontracted by the cities to dig out ditches and all that. And the one guy's got four, his brother has three, and his dad has four of these backhoes. And they grease them beginning of the shift, and they grease them at lunchtime. Well, I
Hmm.
sponsored the kid in snowmobile racing, so he wanted to try the grease in some of his backhoes. And he wanted me to approach his dad. And I went to talk to his dad. I took a tube of grease down. I said, this is going to cost you more, but it's going to last longer, save you money. The guy says, I ain't paying that kind of price. So at the Christmas party a year later, I'm down there and he introduced me to his dad again. He said, remember this guy? He said, yeah, that's the guy who sells the most expensive grease in the world. He said, no, it isn't, Dad. He said, here's your grease bill for last year. You spent $4,000 on grease and you had two bushings to go. One bushing took 5 days for them to drill and get it out. The other one, they get it out the next day on a torch. This piece of equipment makes $350 an hour. So he
Wow, that's a
says,
lot of
you lost.
downtime.
And then the other brother, his bill was like 3,000. He had four pieces go down and all that. He said, I went a whole season without having a bearing or a bushing in between the backhoe and all that go. And I only spent $600 on Amsoil grease. And I only grease every Saturday morning. Yes.
Wow.
He said the grease cost me more to buy, but I didn't have to do it as often and it lasts longer. And he says, when you guys are greasing, you're doing 2 or 3 pumps 2 times a day. I do 1 or 2 pumps every Saturday because the grease is still in there. The film strength of grease is so much stronger, it doesn't get pushed out.
That's
Yeah. So
amazing.
it
So better protection and better value in the long run.
costs more to use, but it saves you money on the long run. Because when
Yeah.
that piece of equipment's down, that's big dollars. You
Yeah.
lose money when that piece of equipment's down.
And that's something to consider too, because yes, it is more on the front end, but if you're paying less for grease, it could be false economy. And
Yeah.
false economy can really turn around and bite you in the you know what.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, with an expensive repair, all of a sudden the economy is not so the money you're saving on the front end isn't so pretty anymore.
Yep. Another product I like too. It's just our Amsoil MP. It's metal protector. Now we have a guy in Canada that builds cars, Harry Sherry they call him. And if you got to ask him how much it costs to get a car done, you can't afford to go to him. Most people leave a blank check and it's usually $1 million for him to do the car. He mainly does Roy Royces and stuff like that. He loves our MP. It's a metal protector. You can use it to loosen bolts. You can use it for lubrication. 101 different uses. But he says when he tears a car apart, a Rolls Royce or something, sometimes it's a year, if not 2 years later, before he gets it put back together. When he used other products, like I won't mention WD-40, the bolt was rustier than it was before he took it out. He said, I had to throw the bolt away. He said, when I sprayed it with the Amsoil, I go get the bolt a year later out of that container. All the containers were all marked, every bolt's marked and everything when he tears something apart. He says it still had an oil coating on it. And
Wow,
some guys racing uses this for the clutch oil, and they also use it for the sliders because it's so slippery.
that's
Yeah.
impressive.
I have a welding shop, a muffler shop. They call it a torch in a can. By the time the guy gets a torch started, you can spray this on the bolts, and they'll come loose for him. He says he
Wow,
loves this stuff. Yeah.
very nice. And then they make a heavier duty version of that for spraying almost as undercoating.
I have a lot of farm equipment. When they park the equipment at the end of the year, they cover the equipment with the heavy duty stuff. I have guys that do snow plowing. They spray their plows. That way the wet, slushy snow doesn't stick to the plows. And I use it even on my own shovel. You're out there
Yeah,
shoveling snow and you go to throw the snow and the snow stays on the shovel. That's hard on my back.
yeah, they'll throw your back out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's impressive stuff. And that's MP. What do they call the heavy duty MP? Is that what they call that?
Duty MP.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice, nice. So if you're thinking about joining us as far as participating in using the Amsoil products, the way to do it is we talked about is becoming a preferred customer. And what the preferred customer program does is give you the deepest levels of discount. It's $10 on the front end to join the preferred customer program, but in most instances, you're going to get that $10 back on your first order because of the discounts it gives you. And being a preferred customer, you're now eligible for promotions like this when they have the free shipping on $49 orders. Typically, it's $100 for free shipping, which is still an excellent value. But right now, until the 15th of August, they're doing $49 to be eligible for free shipping. It's an incredible value. And if you're curious about doing that, there's a link in the description with instructions, step-by-step instructions on how to take advantage of that. You click the preferred customer program first, and then there's a logo in the upper left-hand corner of the screen with an Amsoil logo. You click that, and now you can start shopping. As you start shopping, every item you select will come up at the deepest level of discount, giving you the best possible value. And now you're eligible also for the $49 free shipping until the 15th of the month. After the 15th of the month, it's $100 for free shipping, which is still an excellent value. But anything to add to that, Rob?
If somebody wants more information about the Amsoil and want to know what the price is between retail and the preferred customer, Mike has a site where you can click on and you get one of the factory direct catalogs. And
Yes,
when you
link in the
open the
description.
catalog, all the description of the products are in there, and it has what the retail price is and what the preferred customer would pay. So you can know ahead of time how much you're going to save on the products.
Good. I've got my catalog here too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Free catalog. Click the link in the description. You can sit for an hour looking through all of the details of all these products. It's impressive how many products Amsoil makes for cars, trucks, boats, ATVs, motorcycles, snowmobiles. It's impressive. These are the greatest automotive fluids known to man.
Yeah. And if you have a commercial or retail business and you want to know about carrying the Amsoil product, we have a bigger catalog with a little bit more description about all the products, all the different kinds of oils we have available, right from the Z-Rod, the racing oil, the European oils. Everything is in this book. So if you want one of those, send Mike a message. We'll get that off to you. Yeah.
Yes. And in the few minutes we have left, let's explore that a little further, Rob, as far as the business opportunity as it pertains to Amsoil. One of the things you and I have in common is we love going to car shows, boat shows, snowmobile shows. And Rob has turned this into a way to monetize those activities, something that we all know and love. Now you walk around with an Amsoil hat or a shirt or hat like Rob's got. And Rob, you say people approach you at events like that.
Oh, this is the cheapest way to advertise. If I go to the car show, wear this here shirt, people come up and say, "Do you work for Amsoil?" I said, "No, I'm an individual dealer with them." And the people are telling me about their stories, how the Amsoil worked for them. And the one guy just a few days ago said, I buy the racing oil. We have a race car and we buy 2 cases of it, and we're paying like $600 for 2 cases. So I just happened to have one of these catalogs in my back pocket, and I opened up to the race site. And I said, "Is this the oil you use right here?" He said, "Yeah, that's the stuff we use right there, the racing oil. We used a 10W30 in our race car." I said, "Well, it's supposed to retail for $250 a case. I don't know why you paid $600 for the 2 of them, but for $15 you can come for a count. You can get the stuff for $189." He said, "How do I do that?" I said, "Here's my phone. Here's the 800 number. You call Amsoil up. You use my reference number on the back. You can sign up right now, and they'll ship the case to you." And I got to notice he's already getting it on his way.
Nice. And they ship out fast too. And then if you're wondering what number to use to do that, there's all the step-by-steps in the description with my dealer number. And in the interest of just full disclosure, I'd mentioned this earlier, but I'll mention it again. I'm signed up as an Amsoil dealer under Rob. So when you use my Amsoil number, which I'm going to pop on the screen, see on the upper right there, 304-55594. When you use that number, Rob and I both benefit. And this is the way we subsidize these podcast activities, is by selling Amsoil. So for the people who have been ordering Amsoil through us all along, we thank you so very much for that. You're going a long way in helping to support these podcasts. And if you like this and have not tried Amsoil yet and would like to, you're not only buying Amsoil for yourself and saving money with the preferred customer program, you're also helping to support this podcast. So it's a win. It's a win all around. It's a big win for all of us. And we thank you in advance for doing that.
Yeah. And Amsoil's a fun. I do it part-time. It's a fun part-time business. Where else can you make money and have fun doing it?
Yeah,
And Amsoil has 4 different levels. There's a level where you can become just a catalog customer, order the product, have it shipped to yourself, or you can step up and be a preferred and save 25% on everything you do. Or there's also, you can become a dealer like Mike and I, and that gives you the opportunity where you can sign up other catalog, other prefers, and also retail and commercial accounts. And every time I sign up a retail account, if they buy 6 cases of oil, $1,000, Amsoil sends me a 10% bonus. So that's a nice little bonus for a small retail store that orders.
For sure. And one of the nice things too is when you sign up as a dealer under me, Rob and I are both available to you for coaching, for questions, for support. And Rob and I both bring a lot to the table, very different things. And these are also things that other dealers who may want to sign you up may not be able to bring to the table. And I'll give you an example. Rob has been doing Amsoil for over 40 years. And if you've been sitting here for the last 55 minutes, you can see that Rob knows his stuff when it comes to the product. He also knows his stuff when it comes to all of the different business models and ways to sell Amsoil. And he can go on a deep dive with you in a coaching session on how to, wear your clothing at these events and all these little nuanced things about how to handle conversations when people approach you about Amsoil and how to try to turn that into a lead or a sale. So there's a lot of ways that Rob can help you. And then the way that I can help you is I do a lot with social media. You probably see my face on social media a whole lot if you watch these podcasts. Well, I've got sites you can use, Facebook groups, where you can post right away. And the only people I allow to post Amsoil on there are people who are signed up as a dealer under me. So, I can also coach you on how to create your own Facebook and YouTube properties and things like that, which I encourage you to do. But you don't have to have those things set up right away. You can use mine, and you can use mine to help promote yours once you have them set up, and I can coach you. We can do a coaching session on a whole social media strategy on how to different kind of themes for your Facebook groups and pages, how to leverage them against each other and use mine to help piggyback and get yourself some momentum. A whole lot of things I can do with you on the social media side. So you get, when you sign up under me, you get Rob and I with both of those things I've just described. And that, in many cases, another dealer that wants to sign you up may not be able to offer all of that to you. And nothing against those dealers, but Rob and I believe, truly bring something unique to the table for someone who's thinking about becoming an Amsoil dealer. Anything I missed with that, Rob?
Nope, great. And a lot of people ask me, where do I get my customers from? Probably 70% of my customers are people phoning me up saying, can we buy the oil you sold so-and-so too?
Yeah.
Not going to say no, but
Yeah, word of mouth is a powerful,
it's
is the most powerful referral.
Yeah. Yes. And especially once somebody puts it in a car and they knows the difference, they tell their friends at work. And next thing you know, I'm getting calls from their friends. Can we get that oil too?
Nice. Yeah, no substitute for a quality product.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And one other thought too, there's a YouTube channel called Project Farm, and if you search on that channel, they did a review, and not just a review, but a comparison of all the different synthetic motor oils out there, and it was almost like a Super Bowl, an elimination match, and the one that survived all of those elimination rounds was Amsoil. And this is someone who's not an Amsoil dealer. He's not trying to sell it. He's just using scientific methods to try to find out which is the best synthetic motor oil. And Amsoil won that contest.
Yeah.
I should have thought to put a link to that in the description. If you're curious about that, text me. My link is in the description. My cell phone number is in the description. Text me, and I'll send you a link to that video. It's very enlightening.
Good.
But yeah, anything we've missed tonight, Rob?
No. I think it's been a good broadcast.
Yes, and a whole lot of fun. Well, cool. Yeah, so we're coming up on an hour, which is what we had planned. We're going to close it out. And unless Rob has any final thoughts, we've got a little video that we made about a year ago. It's kind of a 10-minute video describing Amsoil as the products, the business opportunity, the whole thing. And if you think we're finished, Rob, we'll just roll that. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
If anybody wants more information, send Mike a message, and we'll help you out. Send us what kind of vehicle you got, and we'll send you the link of what vehicle, what oil and everything it takes.
Yes.
We're here to help you any way we can.
Yes, and there are links in the description with detailed instructions on how to take advantage of that promotion we were talking about, become a preferred customer, so you're guaranteed to get the deepest discounts with every order. And like I said, when you sign up under me, Rob and I both benefit, and this is how we subsidize our podcast habit.
Yeah.
So we thank you, and we thank all of the people who've been doing that, and thank you in advance if you're thinking about doing that right now.
Okay. Okay, and Mike, everybody that sends you a link and asks you a question about the website, I just came back from the Amsoil 50th University. We're going to send them this T-shirt.
There we go. Yes.
Yep. So you keep a track of everybody sends your name, put the names in a hat, and in 2 weeks' time, we'll announce who the winner was at the car show event.
Yes. Great idea. In fact, let me find 2 weeks from now is the 24th of August. So there's a link in the description where you can click for a free catalog, and that'll open up a form where you can ask questions and so forth. There's a field, like I said, where you can ask a question, mention the free T-shirt that Rob talked about, and everyone who does that for me until the brain fade here, till the 24th, Rob's going to send you a free T-shirt, but you have to ask for it.
No, we only got one. We're going to post
one. Okay, so the first person. Okay,
yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm glad you clarified that. We don't want you sending out 50 T-shirts.
Yeah.
So the first person.
They only had a limited edition of them down there available, so I only got one.
Gotcha. All right, so the first person.
We'll put the names in a hat and draw a name out.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea. Yeah, good thinking. That way it's fair and it's
so
it's
if
not
you got
over
two
quickly.
questions, you get your name in a hat twice.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, great idea, Rob. I appreciate you doing that.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, that's it for the evening. Thank you so much, everyone, for viewing. We appreciate it, and as always, the last word goes to Amsoil.
Have a good night.
Have a good one, everybody. Hello, everyone. This is Rob and Mike. How you doing today, Rob?
I'm doing good. Mike, yourself?
Very well. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Now, today, we're going to be talking about Amsoil. And in a few moments, we're going to show you how you can get the deepest discounts, free shipping, and free gifts when you order your Amsoil products through us. But first, I'm going to ask Rob to give you a quick description of what Amsoil is and why you should consider using Amsoil products in your motorized vehicles.
Thanks, Mike. Amsoil is 100% synthetic oil. Everybody uses Amsoil for a different reason. Some people like the benefits that Amsoil is warranted for 25,000 miles or 1 year. The reason we can do that is because Amsoil doesn't oxidize. It doesn't form the usual carbons, gums, sludges like petroleum oils do. That's why we can keep it in the engines longer. Petroleum oils never do wear out. They oxidize themselves. That's why they have to be changed at 3,000 kilometers. And Amsoil likes the benefit that you only have to change the oil once a year. That saves some money. Some of the people like the benefit of Amsoil is it's a slipperier type lube. By having a slipperier type lube, it cuts down friction and drag. By less friction and drag, engines run 20 to 50 degrees cooler, better gas mileage. Now, Amsoil says 25% more protection than the industry requires is in the Amsoil bottles. My average customer gets about 10% increase in gas mileage. That's a big savings.
Yeah.
And by cutting down friction and drag, for every 10 degrees you cut down the friction and drag, doubles the life of the engine. So by having the engine run cooler, it makes it last longer. Some people like the benefit of the range of the Amsoil. Amsoil's flash point is 425 degrees, and it pours at 50 below zero. Wow. If you ever tried petroleum oil when it's 10 below, it turns to honey. And in the summertime, petroleum oil thins out, and once it thins out, that's when it starts breaking down. So Amsoil's an all-season oil, can give you better gas mileage, longer engine life, less maintenance. It ends up being cheaper over a year's time running Amsoil than it is petroleum oils.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And Amsoil is available for pretty much any motorized vehicle, anything from lawn equipment, cars, trucks, boats, ATVs, motorcycles, snowmobiles.
Yep. And a lot of people phone me up and say, well, what's the benefit of our gear lube? Exactly what I told you about the engine oil. It pours in cold weather, it runs cooler, makes the equipment last longer. And they say, well, what's the benefit of the small engine? Same thing. Makes the engine run cooler, last longer, better performance. So it saves on all the applications that Amsoil has available.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, let's talk now. Hopefully this has convinced people to think about maybe joining us in the Amsoil experience. Let's talk about some of the discounts and free shipping and how that all happens. I'm going to pop a graphic on the screen. And yeah, by all means, if you want to talk people through how this preferred customer program works.
Amsoil has a number of different programs. One of our main ones is a catalog customer, where somebody can order directly out of our catalog. If they order out of the catalog, they order $100 worth, Amsoil will ship it right to their house. But our best program is our preferred customer. For only $10 for 6 months, you become a preferred customer, you save 25% on all the product. You order $100 worth, they're going to give you free shipping. You don't have to order a whole case. You can mix and match. Say you want 4 bottles of small engine, 7 bottles of 5W30, and a couple of gear loops. You can mix and match. You can order 1 bottle at a time if you want. There's no minimums, no maximums. By being a preferred customer, you save over 25% on all the products you're going to buy. Amsoil sends you extra gifts, a $5 gift certificate on your birthday, $5 when you renew your account, and stuff like that. So it's a good way to save on some of the products you want to buy.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, it's an incredible value. And this is the deepest level of discount that anyone can get when ordering Amsoil. Is that correct?
It is. It is.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's take people through the step-by-step experience of placing an Amsoil order. Then that would include signing up for the preferred customer discount, or sorry, preferred customer program, so they can receive those deepest levels of discount. So let's go to the website. This is what the website's going to look like. These are some screenshots. Once you go to amsoil.com, there's a link in the description, or you can just type that into a browser, amsoil.com. This is the page you land on. At the upper corner of the page there, you see how I've circled in red. That is the link to click, the Join Now link. That will take you to the preferred customer program page, where you can take advantage of all these discounts and free shipping and everything that we've just been talking about. This is what that page looks like. In the lower right, you're going to click Join Now. This will pop up. You select the duration you'd like, whether it's 6 months or 12 months, and click Add to Cart. Now, once this pop-up goes away, you'll be back on the main page. And the upper left, you'll see where I've got that red arrow. It says Shop. Now you can start shopping for products, and on your very first order, you're going to get these discounts and the free shipping as long as it's over $100. You'll get all of these benefits right away. So once you click Shop, it's going to take you to the product page. There's different types of oils, lubricants, so on and so forth. For the benefit of this exercise we're doing now, I'm just going to click motor oil. It shows different types of motor oil. Let's click gasoline. Now this takes us to an item. It's their synthetic motor oil. And you can see the item there, and there's choices for different viscosities. But take a look at the price. Let's take a closer look. Let's zoom in. But if you've joined the preferred customer program first, you're going to automatically get the deepest levels of discount. That's what we're looking at here. You're saving $3.80 on that quart of oil. Instead of paying $16.29, you're now paying $12.49 for that quart of oil. That is the deepest level of discount you can possibly get. And then you just add the quantity that you'd like. You select any other items that you're thinking about, add them to the cart. And once you click Add to Cart for the final time, you're going to see this come up at the top of the screen. It's going to show your items and your the total that you're at so far. Pardon me. And then you just click View Cart in the upper right, and that'll take you to your cart. Take a close look here at the upper right. That blue box shows that you're getting free shipping. You're eligible for free shipping on this order because it's over $100. That little yellow box shows that you've got the preferred customer membership on your order that gives you the deepest levels of discounts for the next 6 to 12 months. And then below that, you've got the items that have been selected. For the exercise here, I selected 9 quarts of the signature series, but that brings us up over $100 for the free shipping. We're saving $34.20. And if you're ready to finish, you click Checkout Now, and that takes you to this screen here. If you haven't signed up with an Amsoil account at this point, just click in the lower right to create an account, create a new account. It's going to ask you for some basic information, name and those types of things. Now let's take a closer look. You'll see this gray shaded box. This is a very important box. This is going to ask you if someone has referred you to Amsoil. And if so, please enter my name. My name is Mike Lapierre. It's spelled right there on the screen for the correct spelling. And also the referral number, 304-555-94. That's how you make sure that Rob and I get credit for this. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I have signed up for Amsoil under Rob. So when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. So if you enjoy these podcasts that we're doing, this is a wonderful way to support the podcast, because when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. And the commissions I make go directly toward offsetting the cost of doing these podcasts. So I thank you in advance for that, for using my referral number. I very much appreciate it. And once you've done that, you just go into the next screen to enter your payment information, and you're done. Now, once you've placed your order that's over $100, and that order includes your Amsoil Preferred Customer Program, you are now eligible to get a free DVD from myself. Now, this is going to be either a muscle car DVD or a vintage snowmobile DVD. Use the email address on the screen, wkspodcasts@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know which DVD you would like me to send you, the muscle car or the vintage snowmobile DVD, and I'll get that right out to you. As you're typing in that email, in the subject line, be sure and type in capital letters "free DVD requests," so it stands out as I'm checking my email, and we'll get that right out to you. So I guess the last thing, Rob, that we wanted to talk about is if someone is considering Amsoil as a business opportunity.
Yes. If anybody has a retail or a commercial account and they would like to buy directly from Amsoil, just send Mike a line. He'll show you how to set up, and you can buy directly from Amsoil. But if you are interested in starting your own part-time business, a part-time business that can grow into a full-time income, Mike and I will show you the Amsoil marketing plan. Amsoil has a large selection of products that cover almost every application. So it doesn't matter if you're into snowmobile, boating, or ATVing, or hot rods, we have an oil for every application. It's a fun type business that's I really enjoy doing. Where else can I go and have fun and make money doing it? And Mike and I are here to help you all the way along. If you need any help on how to promote or to find new accounts, we're here to help you.
For sure. So when you sign up under that number, this 304-555-94, you're getting Rob and I as a team. Now, Rob has been doing Amsoil for 40 years. Can you believe that? 40 years. So he knows every aspect of this business, and he knows all of the ins and outs of the products. So he'll be able to help you with any kind of product questions or any kind of questions to show you the different business models that you can do with Amsoil. And then the other thing that you get when you sign up under me is I've got a strong background in social media. So if you need some coaching on how to generate Amsoil leads using Facebook and YouTube, I'm happy to coach you with that when you sign up under Rob and I. You get both of us as a team to help you, to coach you, to support you, whatever you need to get you off and running with this business and having fun with it. Like Rob said, it's an enormous amount of fun. If you're like Rob and I and you enjoy going to any kind of boat shows, car shows, motorcycle shows, snowmobile shows, anything with a motor, you like going to those shows, those events, those races, this is a great way to turn that into a income opportunity for you.
Yes, yes. And just by wearing my Amsoil hat at one of these events, people come up and ask me about Amsoil.
Wonderful.
People don't know where to buy it, and I'm there to help them, show them where they can buy the product.
Perfect. Well, cool. Well, this is great. Any final thoughts, Rob, before we wrap it up?
Amsoil's a fun business. Amsoil's been around since 1968. It was the first synthetic oil to be AI approved.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's very early in the game too, isn't it?
Yes.
For sure. Well, good. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for viewing. Hopefully, we've gotten you excited as we are about the Amsoil products. We'd love it if you could join us either as someone who uses the Amsoil products or to join the Amsoil team as a business opportunity. And we thank you so much for viewing. Have a great day.
You have a good day.